What is up, people? Randall Thor19, the man with the million, back again with another daily video. Can you feel it in the air? It's Friday. E3 is ever so close. It's one of the best times of the year to be a gamer. It's like Christmas. I love it. And this is going to be my video I promised when I did my Xbox predictions. This is going to be my PlayStation 4 predictions and wishes for E3. Now, I went back and I watched the conference as I did with Xbox. And I gotta say, the conference was very, very good. Very good. One of their better ones. And now that I'm a PS4 owner, I'm looking forward to seeing those exclusive games that Sony is going to put out, because that is what I'm going to be using my PlayStation for. So I'm very interested in seeing some of the new first-party games that they show off. But I'm going to be going through everything. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and if you do, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. So, last year, I went through and I watched, and they showed off 16 games. They demoed 12 of them, and there was like trailers for 4. Let's get into it now. So, if you may recall, they started the conference off with the orchestra, and they went right into God of War, the new God of War. After God of War, they went to Days Gone. Then they hit up The Last Guardian, went right to Horizon Zero Dawn, and then Detroit Become Human, and then we finally get to our first third-party game. We get Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, and then right after that, they start talking about PSVR. They show a trailer for Farpoint, which just came out, the Star Wars Battlefield VR experience, like the X-Wing mission, and the new Batman VR thing that came out earlier this year. After that, they showed off Final Fantasy 15, which was also at Microsoft stage that year as well. Then they showed off Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and then Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So 2 Call of Duty games as part of the 16. Then they went to Crash Bandicoot, and they showed off, they basically are remastering the Crash Bandicoot games, which I think are coming out sometime this month. Then they did Lego Star Wars. They brought out Hideo Kojima to talk about Death Stranding, showed a demo. We got a glimpse of Spider-Man, Insomniac Spider-Man, and then we went back to Days Gone again, which was kind of weird because it was the second time it was done. So yeah, that is the games they showed. 16 games, 12 demos, like 4 trailers, 7 of those games being first party, 9 of them being third party. So that's an interesting breakdown. They've even said on Twitter recently that they expect to even talk less than last year, and most of last year they didn't say a word. It was just games. It was just games, and I love that. The less talking, the better. Like, if you could just say, hey, here's PlayStation 4, and these are the games you're, if I forget who's the head of Sony, but like if it was Sean Layden or whatever, and he just came out, PlayStation 4 is having a great year, these are the games you'll play, and then he left and no one ever came out and they just showed reel after reel, that would be amazing. I would love if Microsoft did that as well, or any of these companies, because I think sometimes they talk too much. I just want to see the games. So we'll start off with third party. These are going to be my predictions, maybe a couple off the wall ones, who knows. Now, of course, the big game that's going to be there, we all know, Destiny 2 is going to show off. They'll probably have a live gameplay thing. And I would not be surprised if they have they show off like a custom PS4 Pro bundle or a slim PS4, because those sold extremely well for Destiny 1, and they did extremely well for the PlayStation. So Destiny 2 is going to have a big presence there, possibly a custom bundle. Next up, we're going to have Star Wars Battlefront 2, another huge marketing deal for them. Even though it's probably 100% going to show at EA's conference, Sony's going to show it again, probably to show off, a custom bundle. Why wouldn't? It's freaking Star Wars. That Darth Vader one from a couple years ago killed it. So I expect them to do that again. Maybe a Pro bundle, maybe a Slim bundle, maybe both. Either way, I think Star Wars Battlefront will be there. Next up, we have one of the biggest games out there. We got Call of Duty World War II. A lot of people are anticipating this as the return of greatness to the franchise, and we'll see it. I'm interested in seeing what the game looks like and what it plays like. Will it have a bundle, though? Can you see a theme going here? I can see one for Destiny 2 and Star Wars. And I know Microsoft always kind of did one with Call of Duty, but I'm not sure they're going to this year. I think Star Wars and Destiny 2 get one, but not necessarily Call of Duty. Now, next up, we have Ubisoft taking the stage, and they're going to show off Far Cry 5, even though it's probably going to be at Ubisoft's own press conference. The Far Cry games are always on Sony's stage, and this one will be no exception. It will be there, and it will probably be spectacular. I also expect Capcom to show up with some Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. That game's releasing in September. Capcom and Sony are tight for these fighting games. I wouldn't be surprised if there was also a trailer for like Super Street Fighter 5. Wouldn't be surprised. I know there's rumors of Devil May Cry 5. I don't think that's going to be at E3. I think Devil May Cry 5 will happen, but it'll be more TGS. But more than likely, I think Devil May Cry 5 is going to be saved for PSX. That game's coming, probably PSX. That would be my guess. Devil May Cry, not at E3, but at PSX. And then you start getting into some other stuff that I'm not really sure about. Final Fantasy VII Remake. It wasn't there last year. I know they just talked how they still they just kind of really started production, but I wouldn't be surprised if they show it off. And honestly, I kind of expect it. And then after that, or they go right into Final Fantasy Remake, they'll go. I honestly think they'll show like also a stinger for Kingdom Hearts 3 in like one package. So Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3, I think that would make a lot of people excited. And of course, then you have the From Software new IP. Now, a lot of people expected that to be Bloodborne 2, but kind of rumors were circulating that it's really not Bloodborne 2. It's kind of some Egyptian game or something. So it's about time they probably have a new game to show. So, and we know they're working with Sony on some games. So I think that game, whatever that is, will be there. And my off-the-wall prediction is going to do with Rockstar. Now, we know Sony has the arrangement with Rockstar, but I don't think Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be there. I know Rockstar is not going to be at E3 because they never really do those things, and I don't think Red Dead will be there. However, I think Bully 2, that Bully 2 leak from Game Informer, is just so weird. So incredibly weird that happened, and they had to like say, oh, well, it was a mistake and stuff. And if you go on if you go to Rockstar's website and go to their like apparel, like all the Bully stuff is in like new arrivals and up to the front. Something's going on with Bully. I want to say that's the game that's going to show up there. Not that Rockstar will be there, but there'll be a trailer for the game, and maybe it'll come out this year. Bully 2, maybe that's how they, make up for the agent debacle from like last gen. But that would be pretty crazy, a Bully 2 game. And that's kind of the one I'm just throwing out there, there's something just really weird with that Bully rumor, man. Like that leak, that thing was just incredibly weird. So yeah, now we're going to move to first party stuff. And this is, I know what they really want from PlayStation is the exclusive content. And it looks like they have it in spades. Now, I think they're going to start the conference off. They started off with God of War last year, so they're definitely not going to start it off. But I think you started off with the new IP, and I'm going to say they started off with Sucker Punch's new IP. They're due for a new game. Pretty sure they're going to be there, and this game's going to be shown off first, probably. So new Sucker Punch IP, I think a lot of people will probably be anticipating that. So that's there. Of course, I mentioned God of War. God of War will be there, and it will be huge. I'm expecting a release date early next year. Your typical March release date. I don't think it comes out this year. Days Gone will also be there as well. It will have some sort of demo, maybe a story demo, who knows. And I think that game is next year as well. And then you'll have Uncharted Legacy, which will be shown off, and obviously that's coming out in August. Gran Turismo Sport, which I feel was coming out in September, will also be there, so you can look forward to that. Knack 2 will be there, I think. I think they'll show off Knack 2. Maybe not in a demo, but I think it'll definitely be in a trailer. And then Spider-Man. Spider-Man is going to be there. And I've been thinking about this for a while. Is it Spider-Man coming out this year? Or is it coming out next year? That is, I'm not really sure about this one. Like, I have a feeling Gran Turismo Sport and even Knack 2 are coming out this year. But I think God of War is next year. I think Days Gone is next year. I think the new Sucker Punch IP is definitely probably not this year. And Uncharted Legacy's this year. So you got Gran Turismo Sport, Uncharted Legacy, Knack 2. Do they put Spider-Man out this year? Do they put it in October and November and risk it not doing as well as it could and just have it come out sometime next year? I don't know. It's risky, man. And I'm going to say Spider-Man is next year. And there's going to be no Death Stranding. Kojima already said they're not going to be there. So you can take that one to the bank. And you know what? I know a lot of people are going to say that Last of Us 2 is going to be there, but I don't see it. I don't think Last of Us 2 is going to be there. I think if they show anything for Last of Us 2, I think they save it for PSX. So I think Last of Us 2 skips it. And those are the games that you see, and maybe they end it with God of War. I know that the common game you would want to end the show with is a Naughty Dog Day game, and Last of Us 2 is a game that would end the show extremely well. But I think Last of Us 2 is too far away at 2019. So I don't see it coming. I don't see it being at the show, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm currently going through my The Last of Us Remastered right now on PlayStation. Hopefully I can have a review up for Monday on Sony Day for their conference, so I'm currently playing through it and enjoying it very well. But anyways, those are my predictions and my wishes. I hope everybody has a great show. I want to see some great games. I'm looking forward to a lot of the stuff now that I have a PlayStation 4. So yeah, I hope Microsoft, I hope Sony, they all have a great show. But this has been my predictions. I'm probably not going to do one for Nintendo because, quite honestly, I just don't care about Nintendo. And I don't know what they have or what they don't have. None of their games interest me. So I'm not going to do one for Sony. Or I'm not going to do one for Nintendo. I'm not going to do one for the other ones. What I will be doing, as I mentioned in my previous videos, I will be doing live reactions after the EA conference with some friends. Live reactions after the Microsoft conference. We'll probably do a live reaction after the Ubisoft conference and another live reaction after the Sony conference on Monday. So live reaction on Sunday, probably 2 live reactions on Monday and a live reaction on Saturday. And then we're going to be posting a whole bunch of content throughout the week. My takes on pretty much all the huge news. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of my predictions. And I want to see what you guys are, what you think will be there. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing for more content. Hit that bell because I'm going to be dropping so much content it's going to make your head spin and you want to be notified for it. And I will see everybody later.